Amba.
Shabani. What is it supposed to be? Never mind. I don't know. Can't even read my own.
Shravana. Listening. Amba is listening.
Shabani.
Shravana. So here is a na changes to Murdanya or just remains na, Dantya?
On the last one is
Ni.
Murdanya.
No, there is a trigger, there is a, but there is a one preventing here, no?
Shravana.
Na is preventing.
oh.
It doesn't belong to ka, pa, ya, va, ha.
Okay.
Shravanani. And then what is the next one? Putraha. Putrasya Padatranam.
Putrasya. Padatrani.
Shabani.
Padatrani. Ni Murdanyani.
Trana Ni. Again here Rana is preventing, right? Padatrana.
Huh?
Pada.
Pada.
Yeah, Pada is there. Padatranani.
Nani. Okay.
Rana. There is a na in between here like Padatrana, and that prevents the next na changing to ni, like the previous one. What are the previous one? Forgot. Shravanam. Shravanani, like Padatranani. And the next one, Putra, Vrukshaha. Vrukshasya Parana.
Parana.
So similar here also.
Paranani.
Paranani.
Paranani. Na is there. Na is there here, preventing it. Paranani. And the next one, Mitram. Mitrasya Udanchanam. Udanchanam, it is a bucket. Udanchanam. So here Udanchanam, Bhavachanam. Udanchanani. So there is no nimitta varna, no nimitta letter, no change. Udanchanani. And Putri. Putri, what does Putri has? Panchalika. It's a Panchalika. Panchalika, Bahuvachanam.
Panchalikaha.
Panchalikaha. Lingam. What is the lingam of Panchalika?
Strilingam.
Strilingam.
Strilingam. Strilinga Bahuvachanam. Panchalikaha. And then Sakhi. Sakhya. Sakhi. Sakhi has a Kridanakam. Assuming that is a Kridanakam toy. Kridanakam Napunsakalingam. Bahuvachanam. What is the Bahuvachanam?
Kani.
Kridanakani. So why it is not Kridanakani? Why does it doesn't change? Is there a nimitta letter here in this? Nimitta, the trigger letter, is it there in this word, Kridanakani?
Isn't the first
letter?
Yeah.
The kra.
Kara, E is there.
But then there's a pa.
There is a da also here. Da is a preventing. Da is preventing, na is preventing, multiple letters preventing here. That doesn't change. The Kridanakani. And Pushpam, last one.
Pushpani.
Pushpam. Pushpani. But here we have Gandhaha. Matching word is Gandhaha. Smell. Gandhaha, Pullinga Shabdaha. Bahuvachanam bhavati. What is the Bahuvachanam?
Gandaha.
Gandhaha. like Ramaha, Balakaha, Gandhaha. So on this ra, na changing to na, is there any question before we move forward? Or generally on the homework, any question?
Oh, are we going to go over column 4 and 5?
Okay, column 4 and 5. Column 4, we wanted the question word, Kesham. Question word in Shashti Bhakti, Bahochanam, depending on the lingam. So here we have Pullingam. If it is a Pullingam or Napusakalingam, the question word Shashti Bhakti is Kesham. Kesham, what is the meaning in English?
Whose?
Whose in Bahochanam. Kasya is a Ekavachanam. Kasya, that is also whose in singular. But plural we have Kesham. Means of whom, of who. Of whom, for many people or many objects. So here Kesham, the answer is Khagana. So for example, the question we can ask is Kesham Kujanani, means whose sounds, Kujanam, like cooing, whose sounds are they? So if there are many, we are referring, the question is referring to many in that whose. Then we use Kesham, Kujanani. If we only one sound we hear of only one person, then we can ask Kasya, Kujanam, like that. Kesham, Kujanani, the answer would be, we can also say Tesham, Khaganam, Kujanani. Okay. So similarly, if here is a Pullinga, Marcharaha, so this also remains Kesham and Tesham. In the next one, Ashoka Pullinga, so here also have Kesham Tesham. Matamaha Pullinga, Kesham Tesham. Janakaha Pullinga, Kesham Tesham. Matamahi, Strilinga Shabdaha. So here it changes. So Kesham, question word is, what is that? Kasam. Right?
Kasam.
Kasam. So here Kasam and Tasam. Tasam is the corresponding pronoun. Tasam. What is pronoun means? What is the singular of Tesham? Ekavachanam of Tesham. Shashti Bhakti.
Kasya.
Yeah. Kasya. And similarly for Tasam, Ekavachanam, Strilinge. Tasyaha. Okay. So Bahochanam is Tasyaha means of her, and Tasam is of them. In Strilingam, Tasya is of him, means his. Bahochanam is Tesham, of them. So Amba is also Strilingam. So here also you have Kasam, Tasam, Bahochanam. And Putraha, again Pullingam, remains Kesham, Tesham. Rukshaha, Pullinga, Kesham, Tesham. Mitram, Napunsakalingam. Napunsakalingam also is like Pullinga, same thing, Tesham, Kesham, Tesham. Putri is Strilingam. So here again we need Kasam and Tasam. Sakhi is also Kasam, Tasam. Flower, Pushpam. Pushpam is Napunsakalingam. Again Kesham and Tesham.
Is column 4 modifying column B or column 2?
Sorry, I didn't hear it properly. What is it?
Is column 4, the whose and all that, is that modifying column 3 or column 2?
2.
It's modifying column 2?
Yeah, column 2.
Okay.
Sorry, I have a question. Like, let's say we do not know, like, we're asking to whose it belongs to, like, who's doing the Kujanani, right? If we do not know if it's a male or female, then how do we ask the question if it's Kesham or Kasam?
Yeah. Now, generally, if we do not know, like what do we do in, let's say, in other languages? So similarly, we can do it here. What do we do it in other languages? Suppose if you do not know. So, English may not be a good example because everything is what. Right? So, but in English also, generally, if we do not know, we generally tend to use the Napunsakalingam, the neuter gender. The same thing we can use here also. Like if we do not know who is that, or at least here we do not know the lingam of the answer word. Right? For example, suppose there is a sound coming. So the sound, the word for that sound, it is Shabdaha. Shabdaha. So whose Shabda it is, we want to ask, and we don't know what is that, whose gender is. So like, then we can use just Kasya Shabdaha. Kasya Shabdaha, that Kasya is assumed to be in neuter gender. And the answer could be anything. Answer could be Simhasya Shabdaha, lion Shabda. Simha is a pullingam there. And it could be Strilingam also, Ambayaha Shabdaha. And that's fine. And similar to in English, when we generic usage or questions, so like, what is it? Or who is that?
For some reason, I cannot get my head around these whose words, and I understand that they have to change, but where is the page? Like, you know how you have one of those charts, if I go to your grammar page and it has the declension, is there a declension? Can we just do that real quick? Because I don't know why I can't figure it out on my own.
Yeah. Declension is there. So
Great. I just couldn't find it. Thank you so much. The declension of Kasya, or what?
So you go to grammar page again, and if you want to go question words, the base word for this kaha, ka, etc. is the base word is kim, okay? And saha, tasya.
I looked there.
Okay, for those the base word is tad. So for tasya, tasyaha, tesham, the base word is tad. And for kasya, kasyaha, kasam, kesham, all those base word is kim. So it is a little bit different. So if you know the base word, you can go here. Like for example, if I say kim, so kim, so it comes here, right?
Yeah,
so you see here.
I saw this part. I couldn't find the
base word.
one.
Yeah. This is a little bit tricky because base word is strange here. Kim.
I got this one. Okay, thank you.
Kasya kayoho kesham is pullingam. Kasyaha kayoho kasam strilingam. Napunsakalingam is again kasya kayoho.
Couldn't figure it out because it looks different than the other ones.
Right.
Okay, now I see it. Thank you. I'll figure that out later then.
And if you need more some words for practice, some sentences there, I think they are here, like
Yeah, on page 37, and then also I was trying to figure out 36, the answers, but I couldn't figure it out. So I'll work on that. Thank you.
Here. Etat Ramasya Bhavanam, etat Kasya Bhavanam. Here. Yesha etat.
Which one is that one?
So if you translated this in English, you would be saying whose tails are the cats, whose sounds are the birds. Is that the way it would be translated, since it's modifying column 2?
Whose sounds are the birds?
Yes.
No, see. Modifying means we are not using them in the same sentence. We are using this as a question sentence separately. For example, column 3. Yeah, so we are just saying Kesham Kujanani, that is a sentence. And a question. Kesham Kujanani means whose sounds are they? Whose sounds? Kesham Kujanani. Now the answer would be Khaganam Kujanani. That is one sentence. It is the sounds of birds. Or we can also say Sesham Kujanani. That is another sentence. That means their sounds. Their sounds.
Okay, so having it modify column 2 was just an exercise, right?
Right, yes. That was it.
Okay.
There was one Subhashitam here. I don't know if anybody has paid attention to it. This should it also contains many Shashti Bhakti words, so we can quickly go through it. Yeah, can somebody read this?
Durvalasya Balam Raja Balanam Rodanam Balam.
Yeah, Shiv, you want to do the second line? Shiv?
Mahodaya. Balam that's Murkhasya Maunityam Choranam Anritam Balam.
Yeah, first line Durbalasya Balam Raja Balanam Rodanam Balam Balam Murkhasya Maunitvam Choranam Anrutam Balam. So here, which are the Shashti Bhakti words here? Can you identify, Shiv, in the first line? Shashti Bhakti. Like we had, it could be Ekavachanam or Bhavachanam.
This is Ekavachanam.
Which one?
First one,
Durbalas.
Yeah, this is Ekavachanam.
And the next, where is the next Shashti Bhakti word?
Balanam.
Balanam, Bhavachanam. Next one? Murkhasya. Next one?
Choranam.
Choranam. Balam.
Bahuvachanam.
Bahuvachanam, yes. Anybody here, like, do you want to explain, just give the meaning of this? Of the...
Can I try?
Yeah.
Durbalasya balam raja. I think it implies Durbalasya is weak people. For them, the strength is their king.
Yeah.
Balanam Rodanam Balam. Balanam is small children. Rodanam is crying, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So the strength for small children is crying. The next one, Balam Murkhasya Maunitvam. Murkhasya is fools. So the strength of fools is keeping quiet, Maunam. Choranam Anrutam Balam. Choranam is thieves. Anrutam I don't know.
Amrutam is lie, telling lies.
Okay, so the strength for thieves is telling lies.
Yeah. Lies. So, yeah, good. Thank you. Great. So, I guess you just everybody understood. Just the Subhashitam means what do you call in English? Subhashitam.
Wise sayings.
Yeah, wise saying. The quote. Subhash.
Pardon me, the strength for weak people is what?
King. Raja is king. Or administration, government, like king. Raja means king.
Yes.
So Durbalasya, weak people, I mean Balam here strength. Strength means the way they can accomplish whatever they want, their wish. Or their support, you can say. For weak people, Durbala is weak person. For a weak person, Raja, the king is the support. Right? So he is protected by a king. And then Balanam, Rodanam, Balam. The Balanam, children, they can get done anything by crying. That is their strength or power. That is how they utilize their crying power. So people pay attention to them. And Balam Murkhasya Maunitvam, Murkha, stupid people, fools. So for them, if they open their mouth, their stupidity is exposed amongst the wise people. So it is better to keep quiet, silent. Choranam Amrutam Anrutam Balam. Anrutam is like lie. So Chora, if they tell that Choram is thieves, if they tell the truth, then it's a trouble for them. So they depend on lies to be protected.
I wondered, I didn't catch the question. Why did you underline Balanyam and Cheranam?
Which one? Rodanam?
No, you underlined, we found the sixth case in the first two lines, but then why did you underline, why did you underline Balanyam and
Choranam? Balanam, Choranam, they are also Shashti Bhakti, right? Bahuvachanam. Like Ramanam, Balakanam.
Okay.
These are also Shashti Bhakti, sixth case. So it was in our homework, right, today? Like Bahuvachanam, Khaganam. Like this, Khaganam, Marjaranam, Shukanam. Does that answer your question?
I thought they were plural of.
Yeah, they are plural. They are plural, but Shashti Vibhakti only. Sixth case ending, like Khaganam, Choranam. They are plural, but sixth case ending, Shashti Vibhakti. That is our focus of study, right? That the lesson is about Shashti Vibhakti, Ekavachanam and Bahuvachanam.
No, I got confused. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. One thing we can touch base quickly, and then before moving to the next lesson, there was a question last.
Sorry, before that, what is the root word for durbalasya?
Durbalasya root word is like Malaka, Durbala, only Durbala.
Durbala. So from there I should know that it's Pullinga, right?
Yes, Pullingam. Durbalasya. Balam is Napunsakalingam. Raja has a different root word, which we have not studied. It's a Pullingam. And Balanam, you know, Balaha is like Balakaha. Balaha is also a word. Balaha is also child, like Balakaha. Rodanam Napunsakalingam. Balam Napunsakalingam. Balam again Napunsakalingam. Murkhasya is Pullingam. Murkhaha. Maunitvam is Napunsakalingam. Maunitvam is being silent, the state of silence. And then Choranam, here what is the root word?
Chora.
Like Ramanam, what is the root word for Ramanam? Like Choranam, same thing.
Choraha.
Choraha. Chora is the root word. Choraha is Prathama Vibhakti. Chora is just the Chora, like Rama is the root word. And Anrutam, Napunsakalingam.
Chor is masculine.
Yeah, Pullingam, yes. Chora.
Mahodaya,
Why don't we use
Durbalasya Balam Anuswara is used, and in the last Rodanam Balam, the Ma is used.
Yeah, that's what we are going to talk about. Anuswara and Ma, right? That was the question last week.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, a question, Anita?
No. I'm fine. Thank you so much.
Question on, there is a question like here also. Here there is a Anuswara. First of all, you should know, everybody should know, this is called Anuswara, right? The dot on the dot is called Anuswara, and this is a simple consonant, Balam Ma. And in some places also before, we had here. For example, here, Tasam Karyalaya, there is Anuswara, and by here, Etasam Apanaha, here it is Ma. So why not Anuswara here? Or why not Ma here? Why is this difference here? So that is the question. So I had said last time, just as a closing remark, if you use Ma everywhere, it is fine. It is not incorrect. You can use Ma here also. Tasam Karyalaya. However, I have, in this book, I have followed a consistent way of using Anuswara and this Ma consonant everywhere, mostly, as far as I know. It's consistently used here. Though using Ma in case of here, Tasam, it is also correct. So what is the difference? If anybody has attended the Shiksha class before, do you remember?
The difference is it's followed by a consonant or a vowel, even though it's in a different word.
Yeah. So what happens here? For example, here say tasa. What is the base? If
One has
basically if it is if there is nothing in after that, so what is the basic thing? What is the if it's standalone word? So what comes? Is it anuswara or ma? It is ma.
I think it's ma.
Yeah, it is ma. If it is a standalone word like khaganam, we saw that in the homework we are writing khaganam, pushpanam, etc. So it is a standalone word there. So there is no anuswara. We should not write anuswara. We should always write ma there. So can you think of why?
To make it easier to say the next letter.
Yeah, but I'm talking about the standalone word. There is nothing later. So where we are saying khaganam in the homework, pushpanam, they are single letters. And suppose here also tasam, kesham is there. So here also.
To put a finish on the sound?
Yeah, to put finish on the sound. Ma. So this is not, we should all know that these writings, what we are writing is basically what we want to say or how we want to pronounce it. So that is the basic difference or the main thing we should know. Writing is just here is a representation of how it is pronounced. So the anuswara is pronounced differently and ma is pronounced differently. So when in a
Sorry, Sanjeevji, I was going to say, if I can just say what's the difference between the two?
You want to say? Yeah, what is the difference?
Yeah. Because I just look at some notes here. It says where the halant ma is labial or nasal and nasal, whereas the anuswara is a pure nasal sound.
Yes, exactly. So ma, this one, yeah, just say that again so that everybody can hear it clearly.
The ma is a labial as well as a nasal.
Yeah.
Whereas the anuswara is a pure nasal sound, is not labial.
Yes. Anuswara, which is this dot, represented by dot in Devanagari script. In a different script, it could be different symbol. So this is just a symbol of writing. So in Devanagari script, we are representing that anuswara with that dot above what? Dot comes, anuswara comes above what?
Vowel.
Vowel, exactly, right. So anuswara is followed, it always follows a vowel. Anuswara comes after a vowel in pronunciation order. In the order of pronunciation, while pronouncing, the anuswara, that dot sound represented by dot, that sound always follows or comes after a vowel. And the dot here is put on top of that vowel. So in case of tasam, the dot or anuswara is coming after what? Which vowel? Ah. That, and as you said now, the anuswara is a pure nasal sound. And whereas ma is nasal plus labial. Labial means it needs the help of lips to pronounce. Lips plus nose. Both are there when they pronounce ma. So ma is called anunasika, one of the anunasika. There are many anunasika letters or anunasika sounds. Which are they? They are the last letter of each line. Ka, cha, ta, ta, pa. Each line of consonants, 5 lines are there. The last letter, last sound of each of them, what are they? Nga, ya, na, na, ma. Those are the anunasika letters. They have the nasal component also plus the component of that line. For example, ka line has a component of throat, kantha, and cha line has a component of palatal sounds. So ya becomes palatal plus nose. Same thing with the next one, ta has a murdhanya, cerebral plus nose becomes na, and dantya, tooth plus nose becomes na, and last one is lips plus nose becomes ma. Ma has that component. So this, as someone said, so what happens here, if it is an independent or standalone word, and at the end we have the ma. So here tasam. But if there is a word or letter after this word which ends in ma, then we have a question, or we have an option of putting a dot or anuswara, or pronouncing it as anuswara, or pronouncing it as ma, an option. So we can exercise that option by always pronouncing it as ma. Like for example here, etasam apanaha, and here also in this case, tasam karyalayaha. So there also we can opt to pronounce it as ma, tasam karyalayaha. That is fine. But why I am asking, or why I am suggesting here to pronounce it as anuswara when it is followed by some other letter. Here it is followed by ka, right? Ka sound. Because when we pronounce it together, actually, not without a pause between the two words, like tasam, if you pause, then it becomes ma. See, you are using the lips there. Tasam, the lips are closing. Tasam, you pause there, and karyalayaha. So there is a pronunciation of ma there. So in that case, you write ma. There is no problem. Tasam karyalayaha. But if you want to pronounce it as an anuswara, when the anuswara can be pronounced? When you do not want to pronounce it as a ma, and when the next letter is very close to it. It becomes a continuous pronunciation, like tasam karyalaya. You notice, I'll pronounce it again. Tasam karyalaya. Tasam karyalaya. So we are not, the lips are not closing there. Tasam karyalaya. We're not saying it like that. We're saying it tasam karyalaya.
So like down below, we would do la rajaha, bala raja, balang rajaha, something like that. Instead of pronouncing
right. Like for example here, if you take ra here is also here. Like for example, asmakam rashtram. So if you are pausing, we put ma here after asmakam rashtram. But if you do not want to pause, you want to say it together, asmakam rashtram. So here also bhavatang graham. So you just glide over it. Bhavatang graham. And what happened? The subhashitam.
Mahoday, then should we remove the space between the two words?
It doesn't matter. You can write it together. Actually, it is a sandhi. What is a sandhi? Sandhi definition is when the sound changes. When two sounds come close together, a different sound is produced in pronunciation. That is called sandhi. So originally it was balam, just balam. Balam, if we pause, if there is Sandhi means closeness, there is no closeness, then we have Raja after that. So here there is no closeness. So here there is no Sandhi. Balam, the Ma sound remains as Ma only, with the lips there, lips and nose. Balam, Raja. But if you want to say it continuously, then this sound changes, Ma changes to Anuswara sound. So it is a Sandhi. Balam, Raja. Now how about writing? Writing is all this writing we are doing. This Sanskritam, that is the Vaishishtyam or speciality. I am not sure about other languages, even Hindi or etc. But here, especially, writing has no consequence on reading or talking. So even in this case, even if it is Balam Raja, okay, even Balam and Raja, we are putting the space just for convenience of reading. It is not mandatory or compulsory to put the space. If you write together Balam and just one single thing like this, it is still okay. Balam Raja. While reading, you should understand, one should understand, you means anybody reading, that there are actually two different padas. Because when we read it like this, when we are pronouncing Ma, there is a pause. Okay? Balam Raja. So writing is just a script. It has no consequence on reading and understanding. In fact, many old manuscripts and many old printing also, we don't see any space. It just goes continuous. Only one has to be careful where are the words, where there is a break, actually, where the word ends, where the new word starts. So if one knows the meaning and the context, etc., they can figure out. Now, in all this modern or this writing now is just for convenience. We are putting the space in between just so that people understand there are different words. So even if it is Balam like this, you can write just one. The whole thing is just one like this. Balasya, Durbalasya Balam, Balam Raja, whole thing with one single line. It is still okay. One has to figure out where Durbalasya. Yeah, Durbalasya is a word. While reading, they have to figure out.
How do you know when How do you know when to put the pauses?
How do we know when to pause?
Yeah.
If it is like this, single like this.
Like if you hadn't done that, how would I know?
Yeah, only if you know Durbalasya is a word, then we know. That is a little bit confusing. One needs to understand, right? So one needs to be familiar with the language and the words. They have to be a little more familiar and have some grip on it. So then one can understand, yeah, Durbalasya is a word and Balam is a word. There is no pause actually here also. Like if Durbalasya Balam, we are not pausing between Sya and Balam. There is no need to pause. Durbalasya Balam.
So right, I should for instance, thank you for letting me read before, but when I'm trying to read it, I'm trying to read it all together and not put those pauses in the way.
Yeah, right. There is no need. It is only pronunciation. There is no need to pause. Okay? Even if you pause, no pause, there is no difference in this case. For example, Durbalasya Balam. Is there any difference? Or Durbalasya Balam. Is there any difference? No difference in the sounds, right? When I say Durbalasya Balam, Durbalasya Balam. There is no difference in this Sya and Ba. They remain same. Pronunciation remains same. There is no difference. Whereas in this one, Balam and Raja, if I pronounce it as Balam, you write it however you want. It doesn't matter. But the pronunciation it matters here. So if I write it like this, I'm pronouncing it as Ma there with the lips closing. Balam Raja. So that Ma automatically comes there. Balam Raja. But if I put dot and not, that means I am pronouncing it as Anuswara with a Balam Raja, like that. Balam Raja.
So actually, when I read it the first time, it was sort of it's supposed to be like Balam.
Yeah. Balam.
Raja. Balam Raja instead of Balam Raja.
Right. So, but correct. But however, note that when anybody generally reads any sentence like this or any shloka verse like this, the pauses usually come, like pauses in the ma usually comes there. Like when we pronounce this one, Dhenunam Uchchani, ma comes there, though it is not intended to be there originally. Dhenunam Uchchani, at least in the beginner stage or generally when we talk in the sentence, usually comes. So that's fine. I mean, it is better in that case. If you really want to say it as ma, you can write it ma there. Dhenunam Uchchani. And these verses are generally, or always, verses is a poem. It's a poetic composition. And poetic compositions are not supposed to have any pause. They are supposed to be, the whole line is supposed to be uttered continuously. It's a poem. There's no pause.
In one breath?
Yeah, one breath you can say. Durbalasya balam raja balanam rodhanam balam, like that. So same thing. One single line. And at the end only you are going to pause. At the end. So there at the end we have ma.
Right. Thank you.
So is the first line the end of a sentence or the second line is the end of a paragraph? Those
Correct.
Two lines go together? Is that right?
Right. So usually in Sanskritam we have only two, at least in the older Sanskritam previously, we have only two, what do you call this?
Punctuation mark.
Punctuation mark.
A period? Or a question mark?
Punctuation mark. That is one line is the end of a sentence, 2 lines paragraph you can say, or a verse. Another thing here is, here you say Choranam Anrutam. And in previously also, we had Etasam Apanaha. So here, Anuswara is not used here. Why? Because after Ma, the following letter is a Swara. When a following letter is a Swara, actually we cannot pronounce it as Anuswara. That is why we are always putting a Ma in case of, if there is a vowel following it, a Swara following it. So it is always Ma, not Anuswara, because we can't force. I mean, it is very difficult to pronounce it as Anuswara if a vowel following it. Okay? So here, Etasa Apanaha, that doesn't mean it. It's very weird. Etasa Apanaha. So we make it Ma there. Ma is fully pronounced there. Etasa Apanaha. So after Ma, if any vowel is there, we pronounce it as Ma. If any consonant is there, then we have an option of pronouncing. If there is a Ma or Anuswara pronunciation is there, depending on that, you can put the symbol there. Now in this case, you can write it like this, Etasam-apanaha, or you can also write it like this Ma and A together becomes Ma. You know that? Ma. It is still not a sandhi. It is the same pronunciation. Etasam-apanaha. If you pause for a long time, yes, Etasam-apanaha. But if you pronounce them together, it is just Ma. Etasam-apanaha. Still we are pronouncing it as Ma only, not Anuswara. Etasam-apanaha. Samapanaha. So here you can also write it as Samapanaha. Like this. It is still not a sandhi. It is because ma remains ma.
Sorry, Sanjeev. There's a beautiful example that we have. Griham agachati.
Yeah.
Where Griham and agachati can actually write as one word with the a just with the stroke, how you just did it there.
Right. Griham agachati. Like this. Ma. Or ma and a separately you can write if you want. It doesn't matter.
So down at the bottom again, that would be the same thing. You could just do
where here? Choranam. Choranam anrutam. So ma and a becomes just ma. Ma. So chorana anrutam, like this. Actually, it is written like this. When
would go.
The verse is written like this. Just for clarity, I have separated here. Choranam anrutam. It doesn't matter whether you like this, write it like this, or write it like this. Huh?
And then with the ta, it would be like, instead of the M sound, it would go anu tang ba lam.
Andutang balam. Andutang balam. So this anuswara is more like when it is like one of those 5 by 5 consonant, one consonant belonging to that matrix of 5 by 5, ka, cha, ta, ta, pa, right? So this ba belongs to that pa line. Then the anuswara can be heard like that, andutang balam, but it is more, it can be easily heard, more easily, when it is the last line of consonants, yara, lavaha, shashasa. That last 8 consonants are there, not belonging to this 5 by 5 matrix. So in that, if one of those yara, lavaha, shashasa, one of those is following a ma, then if you are pronouncing it as anuswara, then it can be easily heard. For example, whether it is Sanskritam or Samshayaha, let's say Samshaya. If it is confusing for you, let Samshayaha. So here, Samshaya. So this is, previously it was just Sam. Sam is a separate word and Shayaha, we're adding to it. So together it becomes Anuswara. It doesn't remain as Ma here. Samshayaha, Samshayaha, Samshayaha. We don't pronounce it as Samshayaha. Samshaya. Similarly, Sanskrita. Right? Sanskrita. Here also there is a sa here. So, Sam plus Skrita, they are Sanskrita. And same thing we have Simha. Right? We have Simha. After this E, there is a Sim and there is a Ha. Ha coming after that. Ha is the last line, right? Yara lava shasha saha. So we have Simha. Simha is not Simha. Simha. Anuswara. If you take one example of Ra, yeah, Sanrachana, not Samrachana, Sanrachana. Another we have Sansara, Sansara.
And then what about with the na and the ba? Like a rodang ba, and that's one of the same ones with the anu.
Yeah, this ba is not in that yaralavaha. Still, we can pronounce anuswara here. Amritam valam. Like we have sangsara. We are just holding this in the nasal position. Sangsara. So here also amritam valam. We are holding it there. Amritam valam. Okay.
So in that case, you can still do it.
Now here, I do not want to regress too much or digress too much, but just some you will find, let's say,
Mahodaya, Sambodhana, is that a Sanskrit word too, like Hindi?
Sambodhana it is a Sanskrit word. Hindi means what?
No. Here it is again Sam plus Bodhana, right?
Right.
So we can put the Anuswara, though bird doesn't belong to Yaralava.
Yes, that's what I was going to say now. Okay. Before that, let me show you this here. These rules are also like the na changing to na rules are on this page, and also I put the video out there. On the grammar page, if you go, if you just for your reference, if you want to refer to this rule, so here there is a natvam tatha anuswara prayogaha. Okay? So in this, both the rules are there. If you go to this page, here there is anuswara prayoga. What we talked, all this is here already. Okay? This anuswara, all this. Ma, when they changes to na. So all that is here. And regarding how to pronounce, there is a word video also. Okay. This, if you want to go back and refer anytime, you can do it here. Okay.
Thank you.
Now,
actually, knowing Hindi is now confusing. So I have to remember what is the rule in Hindi and what is the rule in Sanskrit.
Rule in Hindi is I'm not sure, but my thought is that it is just the writing how they do, because the pronunciation, I think I'm not sure. I'm not studied Hindi too much, but pronunciation, though we say like in case of let's say under, though we say no there, or let's take this our simple example, amba, we say ma there, amba, we are saying amba, but in Hindi, though we say amba, they just write anuswara, they don't care, I think.
Right, they're very very easy with using anuswara. I think the rules are very relaxed there.
I think it's just writing, but here because the Sanskritam is purely pronounced language, it's a spoken, we have to be careful what we write. So here we are very clearly defining what the sounds are, and that's how we are pronouncing them, and that is how we want to represent them in script also. So here it doesn't matter whether we use Devanagari or Roman letters or your Telugu, Kannada, whatever letter script you use, it doesn't matter. But how we pronounce, that is how we write. So now coming to the Sambodhanam, or let's say go back to that Subhashitam only. So here Amritam Valam. So here if we pause, then we have if you do not pause, we have the Anuswara sound. So when I am making it a point to speak or use the word sound here, that is what we should be used to while talking about Sanskritam. We should not be talking like letter or the dot, because this is not based on the script. It is based on the sound. So this anuswara sound there, Anrutam Balam, it can be pronounced. When we pronounce it as anuswara, we are writing it like that, Anrutam Balam. And it's a continuous pronunciation. Now, but in practice, even if you don't pause, if you pause, it becomes Anrutam and wait there. Anrutam Balam. That is one. But even if you don't pause, still we can combine this, right? Amrutam Balam. If you write it like this, what happens? Amrutam Balam. So there is no pause, like Amrutam Balam. Still we can hear that ma element there. Can you see? If I pronounce it as pure Anuswara, Amrutam Balam. Amrutam Balam. I am not using lips anywhere. But even if I pronounce it closely, Amrutam Balam. Amrutam Balam. So that is possible. So in that case, what happens? We write it like this actually. Anrutam Balam. So here, this Choranam, this becomes Ma. So let's forget that. Only focus on this. So here it becomes Tam Balam.
Why can't you use the na letter in the first in the ka line?
In the ka line?
Yeah, the na the line.
Ta line? Yeah, no ta line, because ba is coming afterwards, so we can't pronounce na here. Amrutam Balam na. We are not changing to na. Amrutam, because ma is there. Amrutam Balam. It has to be ba, because ba is a labial. Previous letter is a labial here. Amrutam Balam. So
yeah. Okay, thank you.
So this also, we can write it like this and pronounce it like this. Amrutam Balam. Though there is no pause. Amrutam Balam. Whether you pause or not. Amrutam Balam. Ma can be pronounced there. Now, you write it like this. What does this mean actually? If you take the Devanagari script, it can be written like ba, like Amba. So here you can write Amrutam Balam like this. Tam Balam. The writing has no consequence, whether you write it like this or write it like this. It is the same thing, right? Amrutam Balam is a pronunciation, how you pronounce it. So this is another way of pronouncing it. So either you pronounce it as a Anuswara, in that case you represent that Anuswara with a dot, pronouncing it as Amrutam Balam, or if you intend to pronounce it as with the actual Ma, but continuously, you write it like this or like this. It doesn't matter. Amrutam Balam. Fine. But here, what happens here? Maunitvam Choranam. So Maunitvam, if you want to pronounce Anuswara, then it is fine. What we are writing here. Maunitvam Choranam. But if you want to, there is another option. Because it is a poem, it is a poetic composition, we don't want to pause and make it Maunitvam. Maunitvam Choranam. There is no pause in a verse reciting. So either it has to be Anuswara, or if it comes too close here, another possibility is it becomes Maunittam Choranam. See that anch, that is become like Maunittam Choranam. So what is happening here? What sound it is hearing here there? We are hearing the last letter of this line cha. Cha, cha, ja, cha, ya. That line. In that consonant line, the last line is ya, which in Devanagari it is written like this. Like it is like enjoy. Let's say. This is saying like enjoy or enchanting. In that enchanting, before cha, there is a sound ya, enchanting. So that sound is heard here. So Maunittam Choranam. So here, if we, another option to pronounce it is like this. Or if you want to break it, that's fine. Break means only writing breaking, not reading. Reading is same. Manittam choranam, like this. Okay. Manittam choranam. So either you pronounce it as anuswara without having to coming close to this. Is a palatal sound, right? Ya is a palatal, but also has a nasal component to it. But the next one is next consonant which is following is a palatal. So that is why the previous nasal component also tend to change to nasal plus the position of the next consonant, which is palatal. So this also the anunasika or a nasal letter consonant of that line. So either you retain it as anuswara or you change it to the anunasika of that line, consonant line. Okay. So
Right, that's
tanchorana. And what happens here if you follow that pattern? Either you retain it as anuswara, balam murkhasya, or if you change it to like this, what is following here? Mu, ma. Ma is the last line. And what is the anunasika last letter of that line?
Ma.
Ma. So this can be pronounced as balam murkhanam. Same, double ma, which can be written like this, or it can be written like this. Is just a script. Okay, just remember the script. Get like this or like this, doesn't matter. So balam murkhanam, double ma. Balam murkhasya.
Thank you.
So that is why when the following letter is not one of those 5x5 matrix, because the 5x5 matrix, each line has a end letter is a anunasika, right? But this yava, the last 8 consonants, yavara, laha, shasha, sa, that they do not have a last letter anunasika. That's why we must retain the anuswara here. You can't change it here, right? Because ra doesn't have a corresponding anunasika at the end there.
Unless it's if it's not in the 5x5,
Right.
it has to.
Right.
I understand. Thank you.
Like this balang raja, the ra, this doesn't have anunasika. Okay. Okay, let's move to the next one. Next lesson here is Purataha, Prushtataha, Dishawachakaha. These are directions. Purataha, Prushtataha, just an example here. Purataha, Prushtataha. Let's say a few examples. Take some few examples here. Okay, first line. Let's who wants to read Archana Bhagini. Can you read the first example here? First sentence.
बालिकायाः पुरतः सङ्गणकम् अस्ति.
Next one.
मेघस्य पृष्ठतः सूर्यः अस्ति. निधानिकायाः उपरि दीपः अस्ति.
Okay. Dhanyawada. So what does this mean? Balikayaha puratah sanganakam asti. What does this mean? In front of the girl is a computer. So sanganakam is computer. Asti we know. We are using this new word puratah. Puratah means in front of.
Oh.
Okay. Puratah in front of. But the important thing to note that when we use puratah in front of what is the question? That word has to be in the Shashti Vibhakti. in front of something. So we are using puratah for that. That something word has to be in the Shashti Vibhakti. So that is the point here. So balika yaha, because balika is our computer in front of the balika. So we should not be using like other vibhakti here. The Shashti Vibhakti comes here when we are using this purataha word. Or similarly prushtataha word. Prushtataha is behind something. So what something? Megha. Megha is, what is megha? Cloud. So meghasya purataha. Here also we have Shashti Vibhakti. So when we use purataha, prushtataha, these words, and also the next word is upari. Upari is above, on top of. So on top of what? So that also we have Shashti Vibhakti. Nidhanikayaha. Nidhanika is something which supports. Here is some table. You can use utpithika also if you are thinking it as a table. Nidhanika is support or shelf. So nidhanikayaha upari deepaha asti. The nidhanikayaha, like we already studied the Shashti Vibhakti forms of Strilingam, Pullingam, etc. So let's make use of them here. Purataha, prushtataha, upari. So, what is the next sentence? Adhaha. So this sentence, who is next one to read? Jay Mauda. Can you please read this?
Chatrasya adhaha malati asti. Shikshakasya vamatah phalam asti. Phalakam asti. Matuhu dikshinatah putri asti.
So in the first three lines we saw purataha, prushtataha, purataha front, prushtataha back, upari above, and similarly adhaha is another word. Chhatrasya adhaha means under what? Under umbrella. So that under what? That what word has to be in the Shashti Vibhakti. So all these are Shashti Vibhaktis. Like the next one is have Vamataha Dakshanataha. This is a pair again. Like we had a pair here. Purataha Prushtataha is a pair. Right? Purataha in front, Prushtataha in the behind. And Upari above, Adaha under. That is a pair. And there's Vamataha and Dakshanataha. That is a pair. Vamataha is to the left of. And Dakshanataha towards the right. Towards the left, towards the right. Everywhere the associated word towards the right of what, towards the left of what, towards the or above what, below what. So everywhere we are having the Shashti Vibhakti words here. Sixth case letter. Sixth case word. Shikshakasya Vamataha. Towards the left of teacher, Phalakam asti. Board is there. Matuhu, maybe new word, we can use Amba here. Ambayaha. Mata is mother. But you already know the Amba word, you can use Amba. Shashti Vibhakti. Ambayaha Dakshanataha Putri asti. Towards the right of mother is daughter. Simple? This Upari okay, so this Upari Adhaha Prushtataha Vamataha Dakshanataha. These are always used in that same fixed format. They do not have their own tables. they are called avyayam or indeclinables. They do not have those 24 forms. So, because vamata means always we use it as like towards, right? Towards the left. Towards the left. In that same format we use vamataha, dakshanataha. Suppose if let's take some examples here. So that is another.
I mean, Matuhu is the sixth case. What will be the root word for that? Matru?
Matru.
Is it a Matru pulling or a striling?
Strilingam.
Striling, okay.
So there are another subhashita, you can do that later. But subhashitam is another one example with the Shashti Vibhakti words in it. Narasya Paranam Rupam. So now Rikta Sthanani Purayatu. Fill in the blanks. Okay. Can you just identify who is left and right? Balakasya dash dash balika asti. So out of the 6 we have to use Purataha, Prushtataha, Adaha, Upari, Vamataha, Dakshanataha. So Balakasya, what side is Balika?
Vamataha.
Vamataha. She is the left. So Balakasya, Vamataha, Balika asti. Next one, Putryaha dash Ambasti. Putryaha Dakshanataha. Meghaha Suryasya dash dash asti. Where is the cloud? In relation to Surya.
In front.
Megha, cloud is there. Purata. Cloud is in front of Surya. So here Surya says Shashti, right? So where is cloud we are asking here? Where is the cloud? It is in front of Surya. So Suryasya Purataha. The next one, Chashakasya dash dash Thalika asti. Adaha. So here it's a Thalika means plate or plate, saucer. Plate. Okay, next one.
Okay.
Bhaginyaha dash dash Sahodara asti. Dakshanataha. Okay, next one, Patrasya dash dash Pidhanam. Pidhanam is lid on the top. Patrasya Upari Pidhanam. So that is simple, I guess. Then the next one is Shadrasaha Ruchi. Tastes. Different types of tastes are here. And Shadrasaha, 6 tastes are defined. And there are examples. Some few things are here which have those tastes here. Like, okay, next one. Any reading volunteer?
Can I read, Mahodaya?
Yeah.
Etat.
Hold on.
Etat lavanam. Lavanasya ruchihi lavanaha. Eshaha nimbukaha. Nimbukasya ruchihi amlaha. Esha sharkara. Sharkarayaha ruchihi madhuraha.
So with the words for the ruchi or the tastes are at the end here. Lavanaha, amlaha, madhuraha. These are the tastes. Note that they are in pullinga here. The words for the ruchi, they are in pullinga, or the taste, they are pullinga, because rasa is a pullinga, rasaha. Lavanaha, amlaha, madhuraha. And there are few things which are shown in the picture here, which have those tastes. Like lavana is a salty taste, and for lavanam means salt. Both are actually similar words, but not that lavanam, which is salt, table salt, or the sea salt. That is lavanam. That is a napumsakalinga word. So we are using etat lavanam, but the taste itself is a pullinga, like here we are lavanaha. So lavanasya ruchiha lavanaha. The taste of salt is salty. Next one is amlaha. This is again taste of lime. Lime is nimbukaha here.
Is that a lime or a lemon?
I don't know. Maybe lemon.
Well, lemons are yellow and limes are green. So
Okay. I always get confused with that lemon. Yeah. Taste of lemon. Lemon is sour or amla. Amla is acidic. It's an acidic state. The next one is sharkara. Is sugar. Its taste is madhuraha. Sweet taste. Madhuraha.
So in other words, nimbukaha means like citrus or something like that?
Nimbuka is this fruit. You call it lemon, lime. This fruit is nimbuka. Name of the fruit is nimbuka.
Thank you.
Like previously we have shown amraha. Amraha means it is a fruit, right? Amraha is a mango fruit. Similarly, nimbuka is a fruit here. Okay. Also, when we are studying this, we should also note different other words which we are reading, not only the words for where the echo is coming. So we are not only studying these words for the taste or rasaha or ruchihi, but also the other words like lavanam. You should note that lavanam is a word, nimbuka, sharkara for sugar, ruchihi for taste. All these additional words also you should notice, and if there is a question or if you want to use them in conversation or any sentence, you should attempt to use them. Okay, those are 4, like lavanaha, amlaha, madhuraha, 3 tastes. Which are the other 3 tastes here? Okay, next. Nirmala Bhagini, you want to read?
Yes, Mahoday. Esha marichika. Marichikaya ruchi kush. We can't see that.
Katuhu.
Katuhu. We can't see the sentence.
You can't see it? Should I?
Etat.
Hold on.
Now we can see, Mother. Etat karavelam. Karavelam. Karavellam. Karavellasya ruchihi tiktaha. Again, the screen has gone down.
I think it is slow now. Now, can you see now?
No. Only sugar, up to sugar I can see. Sharkara.
Anybody else who can see the screen?
I can do it.
Yeah.
I can see the screen perfectly.
एतत् आमलकम् आमलकस्य रुचिः कषायः कषायः.
Yeah, these are three next ruchi or rasaha. Katuhu, tiktaha, kashayah. Katuhu means like the obviously you know the taste, how this tastes. Marichika, which is chili or pepper, or karavellam is bitter gourd, so it tastes bitter. Tiktaha, amalakam is a gooseberry. Yeah. Have you tasted gooseberry? They are very high in this vitamin C, like much higher than lime or lemon. Amalakasya ruchihi kashaya. So that kind of taste is kashaya.
Is the gooseberry also the amla berry?
Amla berry?
Yes.
What is amla berry? I don't know.
It's a berry that's used a lot in India for lowering blood sugar.
Oh, amla. Yeah, amla, correct. Amla.
Mm-hmm.
Correct, yep.
They're not the same.
They are, yeah. That is the same. Amla.
So then you could say like amlaka, amlakaha, amlakasya,
Yes.
Amlakasanni, amlakasanani.
Yeah, it has like a vibhakti table. You can, like a phalam, you can use it. Amalakam.
Yeah, I just suddenly was. Yeah, I mean, all of those words in here. Then we could do that with you know, the ending letter.
Ending la?
I guess that sounds so obvious. I'm really sad. All I keep thinking about is that shloka, the thing that we read where the fool is speaking. I feel obviously it's so obvious to me, but this is obvious now, even though it should have been probably longer ago. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah, when these things you should know also when we are saying this Esha Marichika, obviously you know the lingam there, lingam is strilingam, karavellam, etat is there, that's a napunsakalingam, etat tamalakam napunsakalingam, right? So
are the tails themselves declinable or indeclinable? Are they strilingam and not or puningam or whatever? Would the astringent, bitter, pungent, are all those declinable?
yes, these are all declinable. They have vibhakti tables. Only purataha prushtata in today's session. Only purataha prushtataha upari adhaha and vamataha dakshanataha. Those are non-declinables or indeclinables. They have a fixed form. Other than that, all these on this page, they have vibhakti tables.
Thank you.
Like including etat lavanam, like phalam, lavanasya, lavanaha, and all that, sharkara. Only thing is ruchihi. Ruchihi is a strilinga word. Note that. This e ending in short e is a strilinga word.
Sanjeevji, I have a question. Can you help me with the pronunciation for betamelan?
Which one? Karavellam?
Karavellasya.
Karavellस्य ruchihi tiktah.
So with Karavelasya, which one of the la there is the short? The one on top would be considered the short la.
Which one is this one? La?
Yeah, the short. So one of the la would be a short la. Am I right?
Yeah. Yeah. So remember, the short always comes on the top.
On the top.
Yeah.
So I will pronounce that if I want to break the pronunciation. Karavel Lasya.
Yeah. Karavel Lasya.
Lasya. Okay.
Karavel Lasya.
Dhanyabad.
Okay, so I think we'll stop here. Next week we can start with the Kriya Padani. So all the yeah.
One last question.
I'm sorry, I still have another question. Oh, go ahead. You go ahead.
Go ahead. It's okay. Go ahead.
No, just back that. Now, I'm sorry. You said that the directions were also in the sixth case. No, or the what did you say was not declinable today?
Yeah, not declinable. Maybe a new concept to you. So some of you. So like we know that if we take any namapadam, noun, like Balaka or Rama, each one has that 8/3 vibhakti table, right? Yes?
Right.
Okay. Like any like you take Balika, you take Phala, so any Nadi, all of them have this 8/3 vibhakti tables, having the, so each line, each form there plays a certain role when it is used in that form in a sentence. For example, when you say Balakasya pustakam, etc. Okay? Balakasya. So, but here this Purataha, Prushtataha, Upari Adhaha, Dakshinata Amata, these are also nouns. But these do not have this 8/3 table. They are always used in this single format. We don't have like Puratasya, Prushtatasya, Uparisya, Adhasya, like that. They are always used in this fixed form. Purataha, Prushtata, Adhaha only. Adhaha, Dakshinata, Vamata. These are not like
words are in the sixth case.
Which one?
We saw the same thing in Kim also, right? As a question mark. Kim as a question mark does not have the declensions.
Yes, yeah, correct. Yeah, Dhanyawad. If you are using Kim as like Tat Kim, Tat Pustakam Asti Kim, so when you are asking the question, I think we just briefly mentioned, it was an avyayam or no declination, no table.
I didn't mean to interrupt you before. I'm sorry. So I just want, because when I wrote in the sixth case, but you're just saying that in this, so the directions themselves are non-declinable. They're always in this case, but everything around them is in the sixth case on these sentences. Is that correct?
Right. Everything that the word which is attached to it, not everything around it. The word which is attached to it has, like Meghasya, Prushtataha. Meghasya has to, this Megha has to be in the sixth case. So this is sixth case. This is sixth case. This is associated with this Upari, right? With that direction.
The thing that's associated with it. And I thought there were other words that's just not occurring to me now that are non-declinable, but thank you.
Yeah, there are other words which you already studied. For example, Atra, Tatra, Sarvatra, they are non-declinable.
Right. Okay, those ones, yes.
Yeah, Anita.
Sorry, I kind of forgot my question once again. Yeah, like we saw those the objects and their tastes. So if I want to put them completely in a plural format, like let's say etat karavelam, so it will become as ethani karavelanani.
Karavellani, right? Like
Karavelani, right?
Karavellani, double L, Karavellani.
Okay, and followed by the next sentence, Karavellanam Ruchihi Tiktaha, or do we have a plural for Tiktaha as well?
No, Tikta doesn't make sense to use it as a plural because taste is only one, right?
One, okay.
Yeah.
So I just leave it as Ruchihi Tiktaha.
Yes.
Mahodaya, that word Karavel, is it Dirgha or Rasma Be?
Dirgha. Ve is Dirgha.
Karavelam, right?
Karavellam.
Karavelam.
Yeah, Sanskrit Bhashayam Rasva Ekarah Nasti, Dirgha Ekarah.
Dirgha Ekara eva asti ma.
Yes.
Okay. Astu.
Okay, we can stop here. We'll meet next week. Thank you.